You may be asking, what is the boutique label? I'm not going to tell you. That's going to be a secret. Here comes our buddy. All right. Isn't that good?
We're good? I can hear you now.
Great.
All right. I'm here, buddy
You
boy.
ready to talk about this TOS? Great. We'll wait a couple minutes.
That's what I thought. And then you said, you ready? So I'm like,
The ready is in will you be ready?
I'm ready.
Yeah, did you refresh? All right.
Um, I looked up the plot again. That's about how much I refreshed. I was up till 11 last night working on essays, so.
Hey, essay.
And today I was supposed to clean, but now I've been on the phone and jazz. I'm gonna go do it after this.
That's nice. I made a very big mistake in the way we're shooting these, never to wear a shirt with lettering on it because it reverses everything. Yeah, I don't think I have anything Star Trek. I don't think I have anything.
Uh-huh.
Are
Uh,
you talking about the costume?
yeah, you said you didn't have anything Star Trek.
Well, I mean, shouldn't that make its debut when we're together doing it properly?
Yes.
Yeah,
But
so.
you said anything Star Trek, and I was like, BS.
Well, I mean, I'm looking around here. I got this.
You got all sorts of Star Trek. I
You
don't know what you're.
know. Ah.
Uh, Happy Easter.
Happy Easter to you too. They call me the resurrectionist.
I have absolutely no clue what's open today. All I know is Sonic wasn't taking orders, so I had to make myself something.
Really? Maybe they're later. This thing makes noise if you put batteries in it.
Why don't you put batteries in it?
I don't know. It takes a little teeny screw. That'll
I don't
be
know.
a work in progress.
No, quite. I'm
I tell
having
you,
a.
I discovered something weird.
Oh,
Hey,
we got
Jenny girl's here.
Jenny Girl and Soph.
I soft.
Soph.
Is that short for fabric softener?
I was thinking Sophia, maybe.
Oh, Sophia. That's even
That's
better.
what.
You're smarter than I am. She
That's
just
my
subbed.
cool. I like that.
Do you like TOS?
Apparently, on some level.
Well, we'll see.
What were
Uh
you saying?
something hi Paul. Um Something weird happened when I was looking at these episodes.
What?
Because we were watching on well actually I prefer Bum, but yeah, Bud's fine.
Yeah.
Um since we're watching on Betamax, there seems to be a discrepancy in the order of these things.
I noticed that too when I was looking for the name of the episode we watched.
For some reason, tape one is the cage, which I guess almost makes sense,
Yeah.
even though that wasn't even a thing up until the 80s.
Mhm.
And then I'm looking at this list here, and where No Man Has Gone Before, they're saying was shown as the third episode on September 22nd.
It said the second episode was Charlie X.
Yeah, and the first one is Man Trap.
Yeah, and that's not what we did.
Right. Now, I don't know why they put the tapes there. Sometimes the people making the tapes get confused and they
Mhm.
put them in production order instead of air date.
Mhm.
So maybe that's what's happened. I don't know. But for the purposes of this event, and since you do not want to discuss the cage,
No,
since
it was.
I guess it's not canon anyway,
Yeah.
we will start with tape number two, of which I put a picture on this video so you can see it.
Yes, Paul. I am his daughter.
Oh,
That's why we got the weird noses.
I liked it better when it was wife.
Not me.
I
I
did
got
because it really seemed to bum you out.
it does. You're old.
Is she 18? Nope.
Nope.
She's 11 going on 12.
Yep.
So we're just going to follow the Betamax tapes in the way in which we watched it.
Yeah, that's what we watched. So I mean, we can't talk about something we didn't watch. I mean, I could take a guess because I saw what Charlie X was about, but that's about it.
Well, I mean, I've seen these episodes a few times. I could probably have an intelligent conversation. Maybe not just by the name, but just
Yeah,
a
I
quick jarring of the memory.
yeah, that's usually all it takes for me to be like, oh yeah. By the way, I finally took my Chakotay doll out of its box. I've been having a motivation issue with putting
Mhm.
stuff away. So I went and put it on my Star Trek shelf, and he's looking great.
Great.
By the way,
Paul, you can come back in 7 years. That's when she'll
yeah,
be 18.
yeah. I'm just
Well, by the way, we'll probably still be here. There's a lot of Star Trek to go through.
uh-huh. You think that's how that's gonna work?
Well, you got to go TOS and then dot 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 and then whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's even an opportunity to discuss the films too, so it could go on forever, probably longer than I will be here.
Okay, we
But
can
we'll
go on.
see. When is your birth month? It's May, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, Paul, we'll see you in just a little over 7 years.
Perfect.
Do I have any older daughters? Yes, but they don't live in America. They were up in the capsule with Katy Perry and the other people, but what they didn't tell you is my daughter slipped out the capsule, so she's still floating around up there.
Mm-hmm.
If you have the ability to bring her down, that would be appreciated.
I saw that whole thing. It's pretty wild.
Well, it's turned into a whole beef. I was just looking at an article.
Yeah,
Even
I hate.
Wendy's is shitting on them.
Yeah, she made it a little bit more dramatic than maybe it should have been.
A wife, perhaps. Listen, I'm
Yeah.
gayer than a $3 bill. I don't want to hear
No.
about wife.
Ew, you got a roommate. That's it. Ugh. What time is it? We don't have some of our regulars here.
Yeah, listen, Star Trek is niche.
Yeah, I no, it's not, but yeah, okay.
That's why I slapped on the boutique label.
Oh, okay. So it's extra fancy.
Uh-oh.
What's up? You're starting to lag.
What happened? Did
Okay.
I just disappear or what happened?
You froze.
Oh, that's crazy.
What'd you do? Don't do that again. And you did it again. Hey, beat after beat. I was just saying. Speak of the devil. Hello, beat. He keeps freezing himself. I don't know if this is on purpose. I think he's checking his notifications. But I told him not to do it again, and then he proceeded to do it again. So that's about where we're at.
I mean, listen, I don't have a choice. I've got the kind of job I have. It's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I got to conduct business.
Uh huh. Ugh. I made sure to charge my phone beforehand, too. And he's checking it again. Happy Easter, Beat. We're here to talk about Star Trek, an episode we watched. He's all complaining. Oh, there he is!
Yay. Yeah, I got to conduct business. So
Yeah, you're so great.
make me a moderator, please. Number one, I don't know what a moderator is.
That's what Beat is.
Oh, beats the moderator? Well, then we already have that position filled, Polly.
True.
Listen, you want to be a moderator? Get my daughter out of the ozone layer. and then we'll talk about it. Beat, I've got a daughter floating around in the ozone layer that she slipped out of the Katy Perry capsule. Paul
We
seems
got
very interested. So if he is able to retrieve her, I'm going to have to demote you as moderator and
just
give
so
it to
you
Paul.
the person you're talking to about that photo, I won't use names just for whatever,
Hmm.
but the person talking about that photo doesn't know anything about Star Trek. And so I'm trying to coach her on it. And she was like,
Uh-huh.
what they like go and float around in space or something? Or like what do they
Well, there's that
do?
one episode where Kirk is wearing that weird spacesuit. He's going, although I don't know that he's out in space. He's floating around the ship.
Well, she thinks they're just like floating around out there. And I said, no, it's mainly they're doing stuff on the ship. And she's like, oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah, it's naval tradition is really what it is.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry. I coached her and everything. We were on the
Forget
phone.
space.
We were there for like over 2 hours. So she should be fine.
Nice DD shirt. Yeah, I made the mistake of wearing a shirt with writing on it. In this format, everything's backwards. Nothing I can
Hmm.
do about it. You can have more than one moderator. No, I mean technically it's possible, but that's not the rule I follow in life.
Then it's
There can
not.
only be one moderator that I have to completely trust. Beat
Mhm.
After Beat, who has an amazing channel and I completely trust, is the moderator. And he can only be fired by someone who does something extraordinary, like retrieving my daughter out of the ozone layer. And by the way, alive. I don't want to see
Yeah.
some gross frozen corpse. That ain't going to do it. You want the
Or like
wrench? You got to go get the wench.
an extra head or something too.
Well,
None of
anything.
that. Yeah, we don't want any of that.
I don't even want, when you bring her back, I don't even want her holding that Katy Perry daisy. If she's got the daisy, you're out.
Oh yeah, the daisy was kind of funny. I've been seeing videos kind of poking fun. It's a little funny. Oh no, Beat, it's not me. He's saying he has another daughter who's stuck in space.
Yeah, B, you were a little bit late. If you want the full picture, you'll have to roll up the scroll there and see what's going on. Paul wants
I
your
got.
job bad.
Maybe we should make him fight for it.
No, I've set out my terms. That will be
Oh,
that.
I was thinking like that Pon Far episode. Bum 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 bum.
That's too pedestrian.
Yeah, you know what? You're right.
It's going to be a rocket ship and saving lives.
Mhm.
So anyway, let's get this bird started.
We're ready to
Uh,
go.
so we're going to talk about Where No Man Has Gone Before because that's tape number 2 that we have on Betamax.
Even though it's technically the third episode.
I don't even know that.
Oh, well, apparently Beat After Beat is selling his wrench.
Well, yeah, but he forgot a zero on there.
Mhm. That wrench is worth so much.
So, since this is the first episode, I'll quickly just, if for anybody who doesn't know Star Trek, well, why would you be watching this if you didn't, unless you're trying to get information? Essentially, think of a Navy ship with a bunch of guys sailing around the seas doing, following orders, except this one's in space and the people they're fighting are aliens and all kinds of stuff. See William Shatner. So, in this episode, my recollection is, and I can't remember exactly, Kirk's the captain and there's a new guy we've never seen before,
Mhm.
and he's at the helm, and they're kind of chit-chatting, but I can't remember exactly why he got I remember him being, like, electrocuted or something,
Mhm.
but I don't understand how that translated into him getting ESP powers. Passes
Well,
through
I'm
the
not.
edge of a galaxy. Okay.
Yeah, see, I'm not sure about that either. But what I do remember is he was throwing a fit about how they were handling things, and that was sort of his karma was him getting electrocuted.
Well,
Do you remember that?
what was his complaint about the way the captain was giving out orders?
He was saying it was too dangerous and we should just turn around and go. And he's like, no, we need to explore and we have to do our part. This sort of thing. That's
Right.
That's all.
A junior grade officer is telling the captain what orders he's going to follow, or
Yeah.
speaking his concerns to the captain, not in private, but right there out on the bridge.
And I believe what happened was he was relieved, and then he came with like his tail tucked between his legs to be like, can I come back can I come back to my post?" And that's, or
You're
is that later?
confused. You're confused. You're talking about the Corbinite maneuver.
Oh, I'm getting confused. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. That's the one where they were bashing on Spock specifically. I remember that.
But
Well, that
that's the
other.
guy who had a fit and said it was too dangerous, and then he came back and collected himself. That's why he got to go on the away mission.
Oh, excuse me. I
Well, I'm just telling you.
apologize. Well, no, I apologize.
But anyway, so this says they went through one galaxy to the next. I don't fully understand what that means, but there was some
Yeah.
kind of electricity, and then all of a sudden this guy is incapacitated. He's brought to
Mhm.
sick bay, and he wakes up with these like white eyes,
Yeah. The like eyes rolled behind his head or whatever.
and he starts showing signs of incredible intelligence. And I guess he's sort of controlling the ship or something.
And he doesn't start off all powerful.
Yeah, it
He
builds.
starts
It's like he charges up. Yeah.
Yeah, he starts like showing off and then it starts like concerning the captain. He's like, "Well, how far is it going to go? Like how much is he going to be able to do?" And as he gets more power, he becomes like more corrupted too.
To you as well, AC. Well,
Hey,
but
Miss Carpenter.
Spock is the one who pulls the captain aside. Remember, these two guys are friends from the
Mhm.
academy. Spock pulls him aside and says, "Listen, I know this is your friend, but this guy, at the rate that he's advancing, he's going to look at you like an ant or a mosquito at
Basically. And
some
doesn't
point."
want to kill him.
Yes, he says, "Kill him while you can," which
Yeah,
is
otherwise
kind of a weird.
they're still working on his character.
Hi, AC. So anyway, eventually, what has happens is that's exactly what happens.
Yep.
But they find uh, one weakness that he has.
What's
And
the
his
weakness?
weakness is the more he uses the powers, the more tired he gets.
True.
So that's how they're going to work around that situation. And then I can't remember, there's a chick there from, I remember her from Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield. She was the main chick in that. But, anyways, somehow she gets powers.
She doesn't get powers till later.
Right. But I mean, essentially, she does too.
Because I think at first he was just like kind of sweet on her, or like she was like kind of protecting him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then they got put down on that planet together. And then he was like, "I can give you powers too if you
Oh, so
stay
he
with
just
me."
handed him over. Okay, I got it.
Yeah. Handing her over some power. And then she started getting all like, "Ooh."
Which eventually leads to a confrontation down on the planet. They trick the guy down on the planet, right?
Yep.
And at that point, Kirk decides that I don't know, why does Kirk go down to the planet? Why didn't you just leave him there?
Well, because he's going to get powerful and he'll probably be mad he got ditched and go back and come get the ship. It's probably a danger.
Right, but if you fly away, what's he going to do?
Use his powers to fly over there.
Okay, I wasn't aware he had that power, but
You don't know what advanced to.
anyway, there is a showdown
Mhm.
which has the famous phaser rifle.
Yes.
And one scene, Shatner's there fighting, and the next his shirt is torn almost completely off.
Yep. Classic.
Which, if you read George Takei's book, apparently he did that on purpose. No one told him to do that, which is funny.
Very.
And what was the resolution?
Wasn't the resolution that Kirk got him? Didn't he kill him?
Did he?
Let me fact check that before I
I
start.
don't think. My recollection is he got really tired and his eyes went regular.
What was the name of that one again?
It's called Where No Man Has Gone Before.
Okay, BRB.
Problem is these Star Trek plots kind of weave into each other, and sometimes you get confused. And for the life of me, I cannot figure out how that was. I remember the fight down on the planet between Kirk and the guy, but I can't remember how it ultimately resolved. And I don't think it was a situation like what they did with Khan, where they just dropped him on the planet and took off. All right, go ahead, fire away.
So he was just about to kill Kirk with his little powers. The
Yeah,
chick stops him.
that's right. I remember that. Those two start fighting.
And Kirk does kill him. He uses his phaser to make like a rock spill, and then he gets crushed with a rock. And I remember because we were like, well, how does that stop him? But apparently that's how that ended.
Okay, so the writers didn't know what to do, so they threw rocks on him.
Yeah, they threw rocks on him and he died. So I was
Okay.
right, he did die, and I just didn't remember that chick intervening.
Well, so then what happened to her? She lost her powers when he died?
Yeah, and I think she went back on the ship. Seems like.
Well, we never saw
They
her
did.
again, so
I just remember at the end of the episode, or they said he like died in line of duty, and Spock was like, "That's a lie," and he's like, "Nah," and that was that ending.
oh, I see. He kind of
Yeah,
fudged over what really happened for his service record.
true.
Yeah, Kirk didn't want to mention that he killed another officer, I guess,
That too. That
but
probably wouldn't have helped.
pretended it was, we don't want to sully this guy's rep.
Yeah, it could have been both.
That's a pretty slick Kirk move.
Yep. You know, if you get too close to your phone screen. Is that true? Is that
I
me?
don't, I don't know. Let me try.
Well, what happened was I had the phone picked up and I did a dip out to go see what that ending was because I did forget the chick. The chick was so
Yes.
nothing that I just didn't pay to her.
Well, you got to remember
Really?
this. This is the '60s. So the women characters were not well written. Even Uhura, who's a main character, was sort of one dimensional.
Yeah.
And if you want to be fair, McCoy and Spock and Kirk were the only characters that were fully fleshed out. Not even Sulu or Chekhov were,
Yeah, they
or
were all side
or
characters.
Scotty.
Hmm.
So that's because those all lots of guys were fighting, but the people who weren't fighting were the top three with each other, and the lower tier after that were all fighting because they didn't like the way they would be treated. But Will Shatner's attitude was, "You guys were essentially extras.
Hmm.
Don't bust my balls."
Hmm.
I think those two are still fighting.
And then every episode, you sort of have like this guest star who comes and gets to be the focal point.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's a new anthology story. That
Hmm.
was sort of the interesting thing about TOS. I don't think there's a part two to any episode except for the reworking of the cage.
Yeah, I think that's true.
And that sort of was the way Next Gen was too, until somebody decided to start connecting the dots.
My favorite episode, yeah, now all they do is make
Right.
each
Now
episode.
they went a little too far in the other direction. But
I like DS9 because they
right, but if you remember correctly, the last two seasons were all part of the same Dominion War.
but you could watch them for the most part if it wasn't a super story heavy episode, you could watch them out of order and be fine and
Yeah,
still get a
wouldn't be my preference.
it'd be fine.
Whereas
You're fine.
any of these TOS episodes, you could dip in and out anywhere.
Voyager was really good too, at least what we've seen so far.
Right. Well, because their stories, there was no way for them to continue a storyline, really. You may have got a one or two parter, but they all sort of followed the going home line.
Exactly. They have the overarching goal. Ugh.
So that kind of kept that going. and then they
Mhm.
run out of gas. Well, do you have anything else to say about this first episode? I know these episodes are going to be shorter, but did you like this
Um,
episode?
it was pretty boring.
Yeah. Well, that's
I could
that's a 60s pacing thing though, right?
Well, there's some of these episodes, the earlier episodes that I really love, so it was just a boring episode.
Well, you got to figure these shows are like 50, 55 minutes. Shows now are
Mhm.
40 minutes. So
Well, that's fine.
you're getting another 10 minutes of show. So that's because, they had more time. And so then what they start doing is this thing called stretching, where they'll have a long conversation rather than what did I see? Yes. Oh, I was watching that lunch wagon. They do these hard cuts to where something is happening and then it'll just be now we're over here. And
Mhm.
no cartilage to the next scene.
Mhm.
So I guess that would be the different style. If you go too fast, it's not as good, and you go too slow, it's not as good. There's a medium in there.
I definitely probably my favorite original series episodes I thought were interesting the whole time. So,
Well, I mean, you got a godlike character. The problem is they've gone to this well too much, but
they
they've
do the
got a
god much.
the god character. I mean, there's only so much you can do. He's like Superman. You can't stop him until you do, and then it's over.
And then there's like that Apollo episode and then there's a
The
bunch of times they do god.
Trelane,
There's that whole movie that's like, what does a god need a starship for?
right? But that
You
was
know
all
that?
bogus. Yeah,
I love that movie. That's my favorite one. Sorry.
really. Have you ever had anything about that movie signed?
I actually have by some pretty cool people too.
Really? Tell me about it. We
So
got looks like we got 3 minutes left, so go ahead.
there's this guy on that show. He's kind of a big deal. I think his name is like
Uh-huh.
he's on that show and he has the gun sometimes and he does a lot of stuff. But apparently he made one of the movies and he was coming to Arkansas and I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'll give him the time of day. I'll give him some of my time. And I went over there and this is the part you're waiting for. My amazing father
Mhm.
got me laser disc
Wow.
of my favorite movie, the one by this Dirk guy, and I took it to him and I got it signed. And
Wow.
he was going through this line of signing things, and I saw for a long moment him staring at mine. So,
Mhm. So
like, it was a moment of
he just had a big table full of stuff, and when he got to yours, which was his movie, he went and then went,
no, he was looking at it for a bit, handed over. So I could tell there's something happened,
and
you
wasn't
know?
that the what weren't you the only person he thanked?
No, you just made that up.
He thanked every person when he signed, but he sped through them?
No, he didn't say anything.
Okay. So but then he said thank you to you, right?
No, I don't know where you got that.
That's the story. Are you
That
misremembering your own story?
said not what I said.
You said he looked at it, and then he said
I never
thank you, as if to say, thanks for letting me sign this because I never see it.
I think you made that up
Why would I make that up?
because you want the story to sound cooler than it was.
It's your story, but how do you not remember that detail?
Because it didn't happen. That's why.
So I dreamed it.
Yes.
I think you better lay down and rethink everything that happened.
Okay. It's in my hallway.
Either that or when you told me the first time you were buttering up your story.
No, I said he stared at it for a while, that I could tell something was going on in that noggin. You know what I'm saying?
I remember you saying he said thank you.
No. It was the biggest
Right. He's all business. Interesting. Well, when you think about it and revise your story, I'll be ready to hear it.
Okay. He said, "Oh my god, you're like the child I never had. I can't believe you like this movie. It means so much to me.
Did he say the child he never had or the child he never wanted?
A child he never had.
Well, in my version, it's never wanted.
I don't remember that.
Hmm. Well, it's time for us to say goodbye. I want to thank
Oh,
uh, Beat After Beat and AC and whoever that wise guy is. I don't know if you think you got me good, but I was just happy you were here and interacting.
yeah.
Gave me something to talk about. I believe the next episode
Oh,
we're going to talk about is Corbinite Maneuver, right?
you're gonna have to wait a second. Miss Carpenter likes my shirt.
Oh, that's nice. I gave it to you.
It says "Trek yourself before you wreck yourself."
Now,
It's too big.
our tape 3 is Corbinite Maneuver, and according to this, that's episode 10.
That's not good.
So that's those tapes are way whacked.
That's pretty whack.
I'm wondering, you know what I think this list here that I'm looking at is production order.
Might be the production or
Maybe it was TV order. I don't know. What's the difference? We're just going to go by the tape. So,
yeah, these
yes, AC, thank you very much for showing up. Have a blessed Easter, all of you. And to you, Sarah, good luck with whatever it is you do.
cleaning.
Enjoy your cleaning. And I assume we will see you next Saturday for Nightlife.
Unless something goes wrong, I will be in person. So that'll be
Yeah.
oh!
Bye bye.
So bye.